As an interior design for business coach, without doubt, the most asked question is how I went from being a stay-at-home mom to owning two successful interior design businesses, so one in interior design and one in property styling. And how do I fit all of these things into my day, as well as looking after the family and all the other commitments which you have as a mom? How did I get from where I was to today? So today I thought I would share my story with you. So the whole journey of where I came from, being a mom of two, staying at home, to owning my businesses. Now I'm actually quite scared about sharing this because it's quite vulnerable, but I'm hoping in doing so that it will give you the inspiration and show you the transformational effect of what I went through and how you can do this too. So I've always loved interior design. I was one of those teenagers at home who was always moving my bedroom round. I was always cutting articles out from magazines which my mum had left around and making little scrapbooks and all that kind of stuff. So I've always had that passion. And so I went on to college and university to study interior design. It just seemed like the logical step to do. I mean, I was never academic at school. I was diagnosed as being dyslexic at university, which made so much sense to me because I really struggled with the academic subjects at school and I didn't really do that well. But I always had this passion for interior design, and since I found out I was dyslexic, it all kind of makes sense because it's all about the creative side of your brain working a lot more efficiently than the more non-creative side of your brain, shall we say. So that kind of all slotted into place when that happened. Anyway, so after university, I tried to get a job in interior design, and at the time, which was the late 90s, we were going through a recession, so it was really, really hard to get a job of probably any description at the time, especially in interior design, which is the construction industry. And we all know that when recession hits, the construction industry is always at the top of the crest and we always get hit first. So I really struggled probably for the first 2 years. So in that time, what I did, I went down to London and I started handing out leaflets in Leicester Square for a local theatre company just to make a little bit of money. And then alongside that, I worked at an architect's practice, but that was for free. So I was just trying to get myself in the door somewhere, whatever it took. So I did that for about 6 months. And then I thought, do you know what, this isn't working. This, I'm not even getting paid for stuff which I'm doing for free here. I was in the door, but the architect's practice they were working on like medical interiors, and it just wasn't really what I wanted to do. So what I did, I moved back home after being away from mum and dad probably for about 4 years at this point. So I moved back home. And then I managed to get a job in a local architect's practice, which was in Preston at the time. And that paid really, really badly. But I thought, hey, it's better than nothing. I'm getting paid for doing interior design because we were working on very small hotel schemes. And I was literally at the bottom of the pile in this office. So what I did, I worked there for about 2 years. At the time, CAD and, tech drawings and computers weren't really a thing. So I literally spent most of my time working there, folding drawings, trying to get things out the door, not doing any design really. It was literally just doing, faxing. At the time we had fax machines, which is, the dark ages now. It wasn't creative. But I was in this job, so I thought, I better kind of stay there. And then a couple of years after, while I was working there, I answered a tiny little advert in a design magazine, which were advertising for interior designers in Dubai. Now, at the time, no one had really heard of Dubai in the UK at that point. I didn't even know where it was. I had to look on a map and I thought, oh my goodness, it's like I'm here and it's over there. And, but anyway, it seemed like a really good opportunity. And I thought, there is no harm in just applying for this job. I probably won't get it, but, I'll put myself out there and, see what happens. Anyway, I got a phone call to go down to London the following week. So I took a day off work, went down to London, had this interview. It went really badly. What have you been doing? Interior design experience. And I was just nothing really. I've been folding drawings and that kind of thing. So anyway, I came back and I thought, there's no chance. Anyway, I got a phone call a couple of weeks later saying, the position is yours. You're going to be working on 5-star hotels in Dubai. When can you start? So I thought, goodness, right, okay. Packed my bags, spoke to mum and dad first, and they were just, actually, they were really supportive, and they just said, go out there, see what you can do. And, if you don't like it, you can come back. So what I did, packed my bags, packed my suitcase, went out there, and I was in at the deep end, shall we say. So I was working for this company out there who were amazing. They did all this 5-star hotel work, and I was literally chucked in at the deep end. And my dad always said to me, do you know what? It's sink or swim. So, it's up to you. So I worked hard. The days were long. We were working. They had one day off a week, which was Friday, which was their holy day. We were working 8 till 6:30, Saturday until Thursday. And it was hard work, but it was fun work. And I learned so much in the time I was at that practice. So I was there for 2 years, just kind of learning my skill, because to be honest, university hadn't prepared me for any of this. It hadn't prepared me for any of the real life work and the experiences and the design side of things, other than doing fictitious projects, for a presentation which you'd be critiqued on. So I wasn't prepared for this, but I worked, and I was exhausted, but it was an amazing opportunity. So from there, I managed to get another job out in Dubai for working for an even better company. And the thing which really struck me were the people who I was working with. A lot of them didn't have formal degrees in interior design. They'd started from having this passion. And I was there with my degree, but zero experience, or probably 2 years experience. And these people were absolutely amazing. And I would say I learnt more off the people who didn't have a formal degree in interior design, and learning from their passions and how they were putting things together and their spatial awareness, which came naturally to them. That's how I kind of really started to learn and understand about interior design and how it worked from a commercial point of view, because we were doing hotels. So these were people from all walks of life. There was one lady who was an artist, and then she was working on all the fabrics and all the colour schemes. So talented. And yeah, I think that was a really big learning point for me, that you don't have to have this design background. As long as you've got this passion, you can pretty much do anything you want with it. So anyway, I was there for 8 years in total. And at the time I met my husband, at the time there, and we got married, and I became pregnant. And then I moved back to the UK, because at the time maternity leave was 40 days, and that was it. You had to go back to work full time. There was no maternity pay. So I thought, right, we'll move back to the UK, back to where my parents are, in the same town, not in their same house. in the same town. So I had this kind of support back up from them. And then, so I went from being this career person to being a stay-at-home mum looking after the boys, it was brilliant, but over time I seemed to lose my identity of who I was and how, where I'd kind of come from and how I'd kind of worked so hard to get on this career path to being a stay-at-home mom, which was, some people would think that was brilliant, but me personally, I needed both. I needed my cake and I needed to eat it as well. So it was a really difficult decision to kind of pull back on that other part of my life and be at this stay-at-home mom, going to baby groups and doing all this stuff with the kids. So anyway, the marriage at that point wasn't going well either. I was pretty much home alone most of the time because he was off working, doing his work and things. So I was pretty much stuck at home with the boys. And when he came back, it just wasn't great. So anyway, we ended up deciding to move to Australia. It had been our dream to emigrate to Australia. And I thought, by doing that, it's it's going to help the marriage. It's going to help the family have this outside lifestyle and all the stuff, which you kind of sold the Australian dream. So anyway, we went over there, and we had to stay in Adelaide for 3 years. Now Adelaide's beautiful, but it was kind of 20 years behind the UK in design, in lifestyle, in all these kind of things. So it really didn't kind of suit me, and things still weren't going well. Things were probably going a little bit more downhill actually, because I was isolated on the other side of the world with the 2 young boys, pretty much left by myself again. Things weren't going well. Anyway, it lasted a year, and I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't be in this kind of life where, I'm not working, and, I need to be self-sufficient as well. And that was a big thing for me when I was a stay-at-home mom. I just felt this self-sufficiency taken away from me. I couldn't earn an income. I felt trapped. So anyway, I made a decision to come back to the UK by myself with the boys, and I landed in Manchester Airport with the 2 young boys. One was 3 and one was 5 at the time, and 3 suitcases, and that is literally all I had. It was scary. It was really scary because it was, where do I go from here? I've got these 2 these mouths to feed. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a house. So I went back to my mum and dad's house. We were there for probably 6 months. And I had to go and get a job and, start earning an income to put food on the table, to pay the bills, to support the boys. So I ended up getting a job in Manchester, which was probably about, at the time, an hour and a half's commute. So what I had to do, I had to drop the boys off at about 7:30 in the morning, usually dark, at preschool. Literally run to the car, drive into the train station car park, get the train into Manchester, and then do a full day's work. Usually I had to stay behind late because, it was frowned upon leaving at 5 o'clock, and then rush back before 6:30 when the day nursery closed, pick the boys up, go home, feed them, put them to bed, and start again. Now, this was probably going on for a couple of years, and it was exhausting, but I felt lucky that I had a job, a 9-to-5 job, and I had an income, not a great income, But, you know, I had this income, so I thought, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Then one morning, I remember it was during the winter because it was dark. So I dropped the boys off and I ran to the car doing my normal routine, crazy routine, getting into the car, and I just froze and I just sat there and I couldn't move. And I sat there for about half an hour. I couldn't move. I was literally just starting to panic a little bit. And I thought, what am I going to do? You know, I need to get into work. Getting into work late as usual because the trains were late. Get pulled into the office, the boss's office. Why are you late? This can't go on. And I just couldn't move. So I sat there and I thought, what am I going to do? This can't go on. I had literally reached the point of extreme exhaustion. I think some people probably call it burnout. I don't know. But anyway, it was extreme exhaustion. And right there, I had to make a decision. If I carried on doing this, I wasn't going to carry on for much longer. I wasn't probably going to survive for much longer. So I made a decision. I needed a job, I needed an income which would give me enough money to be able to support the boys and have money left over at the end of each month. So not on this ridiculous salary treadmill, which most of us find us in these 9-to-5s. You know, you're working, there's hardly anything at the end of each month. There's hardly anything left to do any of the fun stuff. Any time for me, there was no time for me at all because I was just on this ridiculous treadmill. So I needed an income which would support this kind of lifestyle which I wanted and which I probably needed. I didn't want to do this commute. It was crazy. It was burning me out, and I hadn't even got to the workplace when this had happened. And I thought, I'm going to start my own interior design business. How hard can it be? You know, I've kind of worked in these places. I know how it kind of runs to a fashion. How hard can it be? So that's when I made that first decision. So anyway, I went into work. I was late that day, got pulled into the office. Why are you late? All that kind of stuff. Got home, and then that night I started to put a plan together. The boys had gone to bed. I started to put a plan together, and I thought, if I can put an hour aside in the morning before they got up and in the evening after they'd gone to bed, I'm going to put a plan together and I'm going to make this work. And I thought, do you know what? I'm usually kind of led there anyway, scrolling through Pinterest or Facebook or whatever it is. I am going to put those 2 hours aside for me, my future, my family's future, and start to make a plan. And that's what I did. So for the next probably 9 months, I started to kind of put this plan into action. I managed to get a couple of little design jobs on the side, started working on those, which probably mostly was over the weekends. And, if the boys had gone to a play date somewhere, I wasn't out at coffee shops. I was coming back and I was working on this business. And then slowly over time, things started to happen. I started to get jobs coming in, and it was amazing. And I thought, do you know what? This is actually starting to work. Yeah, it's hard work because I'm literally burning the candle at both ends here, but things are starting to move forward. And then it was probably about a year after I'd started my business where I went to this networking event, and I was absolutely crazy scared, because you're literally thrown into this room with hotel owners and, you know, all these people, and you think, you know, imposter syndrome starts to come in. What am I doing here? You know, I don't know any of this, which probably did a little bit, but, you know, you kind of start to think, goodness, you know, anyway, just forget that all these people are here and just go and talk to people, go and introduce yourself to people. Because that, at the time, which we're talking probably 2010, that at the time, that was the way I thought you had to do it. Anyway, I was chatting to these people, mostly rejected, you know, straight away, who are you? And then I got talking to this guy, and he was the owner of a hotel in Switzerland. And I just said, look, you know, I've started my own interior design business. You know, can I help you with what you're doing? Do you need any guidance on, you know, how to get more people through the door? Because I think that this hotel was failing at the time, and I think that's why he was at this conference. So anyway, we got chatting, and a few days later, I got an email from him saying, you know, would you like to come out and have a look at the hotel? So I thought, brilliant. So I went out there, had a look, and long story short, I landed this job, which was, I think it was 56 bedroom hotel in Switzerland. Which was amazing. It was absolutely brilliant, because I thought, you know, all this kind of back hustle and all this working ridiculous hours, burning the candle, working at this dream which I had, it had finally paid off through hard work and determination and consistency, being consistent and showing up and being outside of my comfort zone and all this kind of stuff. It had finally paid off. So I worked on this project, which was amazing, and then this went on to other projects, because I had this as you know, in my portfolio. I could start showing people the stuff which I'd done by myself. This started to lead on to other projects, which was brilliant. And then for the next couple of years, things started to take off with the business. And then after a couple of years, I thought, I really enjoy the styling side of the business. So at the end of the project, when you finish the work and you go in and you style things, and, you know, you kind of place things around in houses and, you know, hotels and all that kind of stuff. That was what I really enjoyed. So I started my own property styling business off the back of this as well. So I was still working on my interior design projects, but I started a second business doing the styling, which I really, really enjoyed. So this was more for properties, empty properties, who and they weren't selling. They were sitting on the market stagnant, and, you know, no one was coming in to look at these properties. And the owners mostly were people, either small developers or someone who had inherited the property and had it sat there empty. And it was mainly the developers, actually, because they needed to sell their properties quickly to move on to their next project. So pretty much their life was on hold until their property had sold. And I started doing this, and the enjoyment I got from helping people in a vulnerable position was immense, and it really kind of pushed me forward to moving on to this kind of side of the business. So yeah, I did this for, and I still do it today as another kind of side business. But yeah, I think what I'm trying to say here is that the method that I'd made in my interior design business, the method I'd got from starting my business, how to get clients, how to set my business up, all the way through to getting all the processes in place, I implemented this into my property styling business. And the same method, the same principles worked, and they were all there, and they were already set up. So that was brilliant, and it was a really kind of good inside look at how I ran things and how I could literally plug and play this method into a different business model, and that worked as well. So that was really good, and it was really insightful. And then once I'd got all these two businesses now, which were up and running and both doing really well, my friend approached me and she said, look, I love interior design. I really love what you're doing and what you've done and what you've achieved. I love interior design. I've not got any training in it, but I really want to start making money out of it because I know my passion's there. And, I've done my own house and I've helped other people, friends and family. And, these are all kind of free favors, but I know my passion's there and I want to make it into a business. Can you help me? So I said, yeah, let's sit down and we'll go through the whole process together. And, you might not have a portfolio from what you can see, but you do have a portfolio because you've helped people and you've done your own house and you've transformed spaces. So we sat down and we got all these photographs of what she'd done. So before and after photographs, and that's a really key thing actually, because it shows people the transformation, especially when you're starting out and you feel like you don't have this huge portfolio. You don't need that. You need the before photos and the after photos, so people can see that transformation of how you've transformed spaces and how you've helped people and why you've done certain elements, the kind of thought process behind it. So we sat down and, we went through this method with her, and she put everything into place, what I'd taught her, how I'd done it. And within a couple of weeks, she started to bring clients in, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, she was over the moon, She was just absolutely thrilled that she had this kind of light at the end of the tunnel, because she'd been working in a corporate job as well, absolutely hated it. And then all of a sudden she started making money out of her passion and the immense feeling of pleasure and, she could do this, and achievement. It was amazing. So this all happened, and then a couple of other people approached me as well who were also friends. So I went through this process with them as well. So different situations. One was a stay-at-home mom, so she couldn't go out and do these projects, face-to-face meetings, because she had her children at home who she had to look after. So we tried a different approach with this, and that was to do e-design. So this would allow her to stay at home, not have any expensive childcare costs, because, she was doing all her work from home. And so we put this process together to start her e-design business, which again was brilliant. She started getting clients in pretty much immediately, actually. So this was something I thought, do you know what? These are four people who I'd helped. There's got to be a pool of people out there in the world who are in a similar position to these ladies, who have this passion of interior design, don't know where to start, but want to leave this corporate world or situation which they were in, and want to start making money out of interior design and something which they're really passionate about. So that's when I decided to found MOOC, which is the online platform where I coach people and I educate people who have these passions, and give them a bit of a lifeline almost, in some cases, of take action. This is what you can do. Just need to put an action plan together. And, if you have that passion, it is achievable. It's really achievable. And that's kind of where I started MOOC, and that was 2 years ago now. And it's gone from strength to strength. It's been such an amazing journey, teaching people, helping people, probably more which is of value to me, which, I get the most enjoyment out of now, is helping people in these situations how to get out of the situation and, start making money from interior design and start being self-sufficient from interior design. And I think that's a main thing from the journey which I went through. I kind of had this being self-sufficient, having a career, having an income, having that taken away from me. The feeling I felt when that happened, I just felt like I couldn't do anything anymore. I'd had this self-sufficiency taken away from me. I was reliant on somebody else for my income, for feeding the children and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I had taken away from me. And now that I've kind of come through this journey and I've got to the point where, I'm not in that situation anymore, and I'm now helping other people get out of their situations as well through interior design, through their passion. It's been such a transformative journey for myself as well. And now, I'm helping these other people. So that's pretty much where I'm at the moment. So at the moment, I still do interior design. Most of the time it's e-design now, because my time is, it's kind of taken into different avenues as well. So I've got my interior design business, I've got my property styling business, and now I do the coaching business as well. So it's pretty much 3 different avenues. And then the next question I get is, how do I fit all these things into my working week? How do I fit my interior design business, my property styling business, which is a lot more hands-on, and my coaching business, and all the other bits and pieces which go along to being, like a mom of 2 boys. They're slightly older now, but they're still at home, and one's just done his GCSEs, the other one's just going into his GCSEs. So even though they're older, they still need to be present in their lives, and they're helping them, ferrying them to sports clubs, and all the different things which go on with being a parent and a mom. How do I fit all these things into my week and still be productive and still be successful? So I pretty much from day one, I have always worked a 4-day week. The reason I wanted a 3-day weekend was because I could have the Friday to have as pretty much my day. That is the day which I do the things for myself. I enjoy running. I enjoy running in the hills. That is my kind of brain space. So I really needed to have 1 day a week, which was for me. And then the weekends, I can kind of be with the boys. I can ferry them to different stuff. Ferry them to different, sports clubs and all the stuff which they do. So that was the main thing for me. So 4 days a week I work now. And within those 4 days I work, and I'm quite strict on this. So I do 9 o'clock until 2 o'clock. So I'm there before the boys go to school, breakfast and all that kind of stuff. I'm not stressing anymore. I'm not running out the door to try and catch a train to get into an office anywhere. I can get up, I can have my coffee, I can get the boys ready out the door. Most of the time they go on their bikes now to school, because I'm a bit of an advocate of not giving lifts everywhere, if it's local. So I make sure that the boys are out the door, and everything's all prepped and set for them. It's not stressy. There is no stress pretty much most of the mornings. And then 9 o'clock, that's when I turn on my laptop. I don't answer any emails until after lunch, because I have my list of all the things which I need to do, all the things I need to achieve that morning. And these things, so the first probably 2-3 hours, those are the things which are non-negotiable things which I need to have done by a certain time. So I set myself deadlines. I'm a true believer in, if you give yourself a deadline, you will get that task done. If you don't give yourself a deadline, that task will drift. If you're anything like me, it can drift for days. So I give myself tight deadlines, and also it doesn't have to be perfect. Prolific beats perfect, in my opinion. I did this course a couple of years ago, and the guy there, he was saying prolific beats perfect, and I thought, what does that mean? And it kind of I don't know if if you don't know what it means getting stuff done without spending hours of time noodling about and kind of slightly changing the colour, doing all these kind of bits which don't actually make money in your business. You might think they do, but they don't. It's getting the important things out, even if it's not 100% perfect, getting it out and having those deadlines. So I'm really strict on having these deadlines, having a list of tasks these are the tasks which need to be done that day. And then at the bottom, I'll have the tasks which need to be done that week. So, if I kind of run out of time, I have this buffer zone on a Thursday where I kind of finish off all those little bits and pieces which weren't critical but needed to be out the door at some point this week. So yeah, and then I kind of bulk my days into. So one day I'll do the property styling, which is pretty much when I'm out the office and the house, and that's when I go out and have those days doing the styling. So that's one day. I spend probably a day and a half on the coaching side of the business, where I do all the videos and all the kind of marketing, the online marketing. I don't use any ads. It's literally all through showing up consistently, giving value to people. Most of the time it's free value, it's free trainings, because I understand that people in these positions, in these situations, don't have a lot of spare money put aside for training. And I think this is something a lot of coaches get wrong, in my opinion. I try to make my courses affordable for people who don't have that additional income but want to get out of their situations, what they're in. So that's quite a big thing. So I also give a lot of free stuff away as well. And, I try and help people and give people as much value as I possibly can, to get people on this ladder and this kind of journey out of their situations. And then also from the interior design business, as I said before, most of my time now is doing e-design, which is absolutely brilliant because I work on projects all over the world. One week I can be working on a project in Cape Town on an apartment there. Another week it could be in New York. Another week it could be, in Barcelona. And these things, it happens, and it's brilliant because you're working with all these different cultures, and there's so much variety in doing e-design as well, and you're helping people as well. Again, you're helping people with these problems, who have, they've maybe moved into an apartment, they don't have the time, they don't have the knowledge. It could be small businesses who, their businesses are failing and, they're desperate. These people's that, again, their lives are on the line. They have like a small restaurant and no one's coming through the door anymore. And it's helping these people turn their lives around by doing the layouts and, transforming their spaces all through online interior design. And that's what I get a lot of enjoyment out of as well. But then, we'll go back to the bulking my time. So I bulk my time through kind of prioritising the key tasks which need to be done on those particular projects, and then always clocking off at 2:00. Now, the reason I do this is because I need to go and do some exercise. I need to kind of clear my head. I need to get everything in my head ready for the next day. And I just, I get that through exercising. So whether it's going for a walk in the local park, whether it's going for a run in the hills, which I'm very lucky that they're pretty close to where we live. So it's getting that time for me to decompress, to put everything in order in my brain. And that's when I come back and I make my list for the next day of what I need to get done. So for me, it's really important to clock off at 2:00 in the afternoon. So I have that time before the boys come home, and, you know, I'm present for them. You know, we have chats, we have a cup of tea when they get in through the door, piece of cake or whatever it is. And I sit down with the boys individually, and, you know, we just kind of go through their day. How's their day been? And it's brilliant. And I feel so lucky that I get this time now to do that with them. And, you know, it's special time because they're growing fast. My oldest one is probably going to be leaving home in a couple of years because he's got his career planned, and, you know, he's which is, I'm very lucky actually that he's got that. But I know that time is limited now with them, and I want to be able to be present with them and be in their lives, and you know, kind of give them that time which isn't going to be there for very much longer. So that's my journey. That is how I went from being a stay-at-home mom, going through all of the emotions, all of the ups and downs, to where I am today. And I think the key takeaways from this is, there's a few key takeaways. I won't go into them all, but I think the first thing is, when I was out in Dubai, that the people I learnt the most from were the people who hadn't had a formal degree in interior design. These were the people who I was working with in the studios, who had the passion, and they'd taken action, and they'd been brave, and, you know, they'd got to where they were through this passion and this commitment to being true to themselves. That was a real key takeaway for me. Another key takeaway was when I go back to sitting in the car when I had burnout, extreme burnout probably. It was making that courageous decision when everybody else was saying, "This is crazy, you can't do this, you know, you're on your time is stretched to the max as it is, you know, you're this mom, you've got these boys to look after. How can you possibly think that by starting your own interior design business is the right thing to do at this very point in your life?" But I thought, I'm not going to listen to them. I'm going to listen to myself, and I'm going to take a good look inside me, and what is it that I want to do, and how can I use that passion to get out of this situation that I'm in at the moment, this 9 to 5, you know, if I'm honest, it was 7:30 till 6:30 at night, schedule, putting the boys to bed, not seeing them, only seeing them on a weekend, really. You know, mum and dad were brilliant at the time. We were ships in the night. I'd literally come home, and, you know, on some nights they'd be there till after the boys had gone to bed, because, you know, that was just how it was, and I had to stay at work till stupid hours, you know, working for other people, making profit for other people, getting paid little for doing this. So it's about being courageous as well, and getting yourself out of that comfort zone, and understanding that, yeah, it's scary. Yeah, it's going to be really hard work. But if I do this, if I put the time in, if I take away that time which I was mindlessly scrolling through Pinterest and Facebook for no return, you know, just kind of mindlessly doing this. If I put that time where I was doing that aside and put that into my future, into the boys' future, what would happen in 6 months' time? Where would I be in 6 months' time? Where would I be in a year's time? Where would I be in 5 years' time if I just, you know, kind of put that aside just for a little bit? And this is where I am, and this is the result of doing that. So I hope this has been enlightening. I hope this has been inspiring, that you know, and I've shown you that you can do this too. And the students that I've helped, the friends that I've helped, you know, where they are today, just by taking that leap of faith and putting themselves outside their comfort zone to where they are today. So yeah, if any of this resonates with you, you know, the situation you're in at the moment, if you're going through the situation which I was in, I'd really love you to just write something below, just even if it's a yes, that's me, or, you know, yeah, you know, you don't have to share your story if you don't feel comfortable. It'd be brilliant if you did, because, you know, we're all on this journey together. So yeah, if you can resonate with any of this, just put a comment in the comment box below, and we're kind of all here together, and we can all help each other along through this process. So yeah, thanks for watching. I really, really appreciate your time, because I know your time is precious. I really appreciate it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon.